protect his new nation. So he resolved to find of all who would challenge his right to be free. With a swift-sailing vessel and 10 carriage guns to hunt the world's oceans and seas. Born to go into harm's way, come all ye hell and high waters be damned. No lightning, no thunder, no hurricane hail can stand in the face of his wrath. Be beneath his enemy's feet, like cloud when the gates cannot grow. The life that rise, every last man shall shake.
Ship is operating water assigned to us for submerged operation by OpScan 481018, verified by the nav and myself. Sounding is 1385 fathoms beneath the keel and checked with chart. I have verified that my launch team is ready to submerge the ship. I intend to submerge the ship to 155 feet. 5.
My mother told me someday I will buy galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, many foemen, many foemen.
We are at war. This is our time. Our nation. It needs our men and women. It needs our patriots. It needs our citizens. We are only as divided as we allow our government to divide us. It has been state overreach. It has been the federal government overreach, intruding into your lives, telling what 3 men and 3 women should do or can do with their lives. It is not up to them. It is up to us. It is up to us to protect our children and future generations. If we do not stand together, who will stand for us? No one will stand for you. No one will fight for you. You must do this yourself. And together, we will win. We will prevail. We are going to restore the freedoms to this nation. And my brothers and sisters died. And your grandfather died. This is our country. We must reclaim it. We must take it back. We cannot allow ourselves to fail. I will stand alongside you. And together, we will turn the tide in the war for our freedoms.
My mother told me someday I will die, galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, many foemen, many foemen. My mother told me someday I will buy galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow.
We came to this state for one reason, and one reason only, because we do not serve this country. See the oppression of our people! See the oppression of our citizens in this country! Our brothers and sisters did not die on foreign soil! For big companies to collude with the government! Oh!
December 31st, 2020. Where were you? I'm your host, Cash Jackson. This is the Wars Hell Podcast. I am joined by my executive producer, CJ Abernathy. He is a Marine Corps veteran, honorably discharged, combat related. He's a good dude. He's here to help me out. He's here to help me stay on track tonight. And what we're discussing, I don't think, well, there's no shortage of the discussion in the news. I guess maybe the shortage of the discussion is what's going to be done about it, right? What we're looking at and what we're dealing with as a country. And I really don't think a lot of people want to acknowledge what's transpiring in this country. And I think that that's readily evident by many who choose to turn a blind eye to what's happening to their neighbor, to the businesses inside their communities. And yet now we're starting to see resistance brew in New York City, in LA, in Oregon. I don't think that I've seen any in Washington State yet, at least not over in the more liberal side. But there in LA, I did see some today. Yeah, protesters outside various locations and saying we're not going away, and we're not staying home. We're not wearing the mask. We're not doing any of it. People are reaching their breaking points in the places that have historically oppressed them the most, at the hands of predominantly, and at least in those locations, through democratic policy. And the average American now is just, they're at wit's end. Our intelligence is insulted at every single turn. It's quite clear to all of us that Congress is doing what Congress wants to do, and whatever special interest has stuffed money down their pockets, that's what Congress is doing. They're not doing the will of the American people, and we're fed up with it. I mean, all of us know that a 5,000 plus page bill isn't read within a day or two. There's no way. We know this, which means that anyone and everyone who signed it did so for a couple of different reasons. Maybe they were genuine and they wanted to expedite some sort of financial relief to the American people, and they signed it. And maybe there was some altruistic people that really wanted to do that. What concerns me is that we're allowing ourselves to be bought off. We're allowing ourselves to be purchased. $600 fucking dollars, $2,000. They're both insults to us as Americans. This COVID nonsense has reached epic proportions. What we are seeing is the now forced intrusion of a totalitarian state. What's happening is they are escalating the executive power usage through the police in these cities, such as New York City. I saw one, it was outside a place called Max, M-A-C-S, I think, Max, they're in New York City. And these guys fucking had it. Now, these are the same type of people that'll run the Back the Blue events, which makes this all the more interesting that we've got your working class people that otherwise they back the blue for the most part. But now you got the blue keeping them out of their businesses. You got the blue walking in there with health inspectors, shutting down businesses, intimidating business owners to close their fucking doors, right? Throwing handcuffs on people that don't comply with mask orders, or arresting people having church services. And this is why it's become so fucking important for us to stress to our police officers. Your oath to the Constitution. I want police officers to come home safely. I've got a bunch of friends that I love dearly that are police officers. And thankfully, many of the departments here in rural Arkansas, they're not going to enforce this bullshit. They're not going to enforce it. Right now, there's some crazy hippie liberal person running around my small town. I don't know who they are. They're an antagonizer of sorts. Turns out they have visited local gas stations here near me. And they have also been visiting the grocery store that I frequent. And complaining about whatever part of a mask mandate that they're not complying with. Shitting all over teenage kids working as, they're in there bagging groceries for a little bit of extra money. Poor rural kids out here in Podunk, Arkansas. And you got some silly son of a bitch down here. Let me find out who it is. Okay. Let me find out who you are. And you're going to get put on public blast down here. Because you ain't fucking around in my town. I'm not going to put up with it. Let me find out who you are, who this person is. I know one of them is at least a woman, a crazy lady. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to find you. I'm going to call you out. We're going to air your dirty little mug all over this show. What is that? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about right now? This Casey Anthony thing, starting investigation firm.
Evening,
Nothing.
Cash. You spoke about a crazy lady.
Nothing.
And then I saw a headline underneath the one that you were talking about earlier with me. And then I was like, wait a minute. If you find out who it is, why don't we just get Casey Anthony?
You come out of left field with Casey Anthony.
And I just had to hit you in left field with Casey Anthony. Hello, Mr. Jackson. Pleasure to see you tonight on this fine end of an era type evening. I just wanted to come on here and at least let everybody know that I will do your job tonight and letting them know that they can support this broadcast by going to patreon.com.
You want to get Casey Anthony on the case? We ain't got to do this pitch right now, man. We don't have to mess with that right now.
I'm doing it so that way you can just continue to talk, and that's about it. So happy New Year's, and I don't want to deal with the delay tonight. So.
Let me keep going where I'm going. Because I'm really perturbed about it, right? I'm really perturbed about it. This happened so yesterday or the last couple of days. And again, I live in a very rural community. We're talking a population of 3,500 people. Everybody knows everybody around where I live. And somebody that's not from here, they don't see on a regular, they know that too, right? You don't come into these towns and we don't pay attention to who you are and that you're not from here. Don't come down here with that bullshit. I'm going to tell you that right now. You come down here to Logan County, Arkansas, I'm not going to put up your bullshit. And I'm not going to threaten anyone over the fucking over physical violence. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to embarrass the shit out of you. Because I'm going to bring me, my cell phone, and probably some friends. And I'm going to come down there and I'm going to fucking school your ass on what's constitutional and what's not. You don't feel safe, stay the fuck at home. It's pretty simple. You don't feel safe, keep your silly ass at home. Put on a fucking respirator. Take additional precautionary measures. That's on you, boss. That ain't on me. That's on you. You take care of you and yours, and I'll take care of me and mine. As for me and my household, I ain't wearing that bullshit. Because as you've seen, and as I told you, and as I said for fucking months, the shit's not going to just up and disappear one day with these mask mandates. We have seen the shifting goalposts the entire fucking time. The whole time. Shifting goalposts. And the American people, as always, on fucking cue, yep, take some more of my liberty. 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 And they just take it and take it and take it and take it. Why do you take it? Why are we taking? I told the business owner, or I'm sorry, the guy that was working down here. I said, please inform the the business owner here, I'm not sacrificing my principles and putting on that mask. I'm not doing it. That is akin to communist Russia or communist China putting their fucking hand over my face and muzzling me. And it ain't happening. And you're allowing yourselves to be muzzled. I left my name and my number with that gas station, with that little convenience station that I stop at. Little local business, tiny, tiny little place. You let me know next time somebody's down here with that bullshit, and I'll come down here. We got all these people up in New York City, businesses closed, Chicago, businesses closed, California, businesses closed. Working men and women. Your family's not getting fed. $600, $2,000, what difference does that make? $1,400, is that the difference in your principles? The bill never should have left. It never should have been signed by anyone. No one. That money is the American people's money. Gender studies in Pakistan, are you shitting me? It's the last day of the year. Praise the Lord. Jesus, almost out of it. But it's not 2021, man. You might as well take any of those fucking plans you got and set them to the side. Any of those New Year's resolutions you got. If you knew shit, I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to read a fucking book. I'm going to get my fat mom ass in shape. What you might want to be doing is figuring out what the fuck you're going to do when the lights go out around here. What are you going to do when they institute martial law in this country? Coming door to door. They're not going to take people from in my region and go door to door. I don't believe that. I believe what they would do is they would bring people in from other regions. They'll take our sons and our daughters and they will send them into other regions. They will send those from the south to the north and the north to the south, the east to the west and the west to the east. Those are young men and women across this nation because it's far more likely they're not going to associate with people that culture, a far different culture than where they come from. And it's much easier to begin the dehumanization process to rationalize in one's mind carrying out an unlawful order to harm another human being because somehow you have justified in your mind that they are less than you. You've had to justify that they are less than you because you were afraid. And so you sacrifice a lack of courage to stand up and do the right fucking thing. That's what that amounts to. And if you're in the military or if you're a police officer, any type of first response to the fucking Constitution, and if you're understanding some part of that, just say so. We don't expect you to memorize it, but we expect you to have at least enough working knowledge about it to not infringe upon people's rights or support orders, leaders, or from politicians. We expect that you've got enough common sense and rationale to go, that doesn't sound right. Let me look this up. Let me look in my pocket Constitution real quick, see if that sounds right. Hey, sir, this isn't lining up right. I don't think that we should be doing this to the American people. January is going to be a scary month in this country. January 6th is a big day. We're going to D.C. Myself and a small contingency of men are going over to Washington, D.C., and we're going to be boots and as a political dissident. Me and CJ had a little go around here the other day about we had activists on the intro, and I said I don't like the association of the term, right? Because as activists is typically associated with more of just a protest or somebody holding a sign, and I don't like that type. It's a rebellion against state overreach. I'm a political dissident. I don't see my children because I'm a political dissident. People tell me, Cash, you need to shut your fucking mouth, man. You'll see your kids, but you got to keep your mouth shut. You got to kiss their ass. Okay. You need to do what they say. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself for a moment. That's how they've gotten away with it to this juncture. Because you just took it on the chin so you could get yours for you right then at that moment. And I get it. It's your kids. I get it. I get the pain. I get it. I fucking understand why you don't want to stand up because the pain is so much. It's hard to endure it. The discomfort of not seeing your children, the depression, the anxiety. Fucking get it. I've lived it. I'm still living it. I haven't seen my kids in over 2 years. For my daughter, it'll be 3 years this March. I've had a pro bono attorney that's probably invested at least $250,000 of free legal services to me. And with all of that, I still am not seeing or speaking to my children. With all of that, and I want you to see that, folks. I need you to see that how clearly this fucking picture is. This is on paper, it is wrong. In our hearts, it is wrong. In scripture, it is wrong. In the Constitution, it is wrong. In the Declaration of Independence, it is wrong across the world. It is wrong to take a man's child from him. It is fucking wrong. And it's done to millions of Americans. We've been socially conditioned to accept the reality that our children will perish from mental, emotional, behavioral disorders as a result from not growing up with their biological fathers. Yet every piece of serious domestic policy we have in this fucking country that gets billions in federal subsidies does everything to push out a masculine man, a protector and a provider, so that the state can become that which the father was intended to fucking be. And it's happened to such a degree that we have weakened and saturated what it is to be a man in this country today. For me to put on this uniform, the manner in which I do, and to say the things that I say is so fucking taboo. It's a goddamn miracle they haven't drugged me back on active duty, stripped me of my fucking rank, stripped me of all of my privileges, and stuffed me in a fucking cell, all after having taken my children after 20 years of military fucking service. So don't tell me there's nothing on my criminal record. Nothing. Nothing. And I'm angry. I'm pissed off. How the fuck would you not be if you've not seen your kids? I got to listen to my executive producer pour out his heart and share pictures of his daughter, purple fucking heart, backward bullshit that we're fucking accepting. It's unacceptable in this country today. And if you're a police officer that does that, I'm sorry, but you are an enemy of the people. You are an enemy of the American people. All of us. And I back the fucking blue. But I don't back no blue bullshit that takes a disabled Marine Corps veteran and handcuffs his ass because he's a little too loud. Would you ever stop to fucking think, Deputy Dumb Shit, that maybe he got blown up by an IED? Did that ever cross your fucking thick skull? No, it didn't. Man drove across the country to try and see his child, and a hope to see his child. My friend Chris Marks, a Native American of the Miami people, sits right now in another prison in Indiana. My friend Josh just got out of prison in Texas a few months ago. A loving father, devoted fathers, committed fathers, wanting to raise their children. They have been there for their kids. They fight to be in their kids' lives, and we shit on them. He's got the goddamn balls to say something about it. You want to try and tear me down and tell me that this shit ain't real, that it's made up because you got full custody. You were in the military and you got full custody. Well, happy fucking duty for you, bro. There's some people sitting up on death row that didn't kill anybody. Did you know that? You think our criminal justice system is the only thing broken in this country inside our judiciary? You think that's it? The whole of the left calls to reform the judicial system, reform criminal law, abolish qualified immunity, on and on and on and on and on, and they'll go. And when I, as a white man, present an issue that I'm experiencing, I'm told to sit down and shut up. You're white, you're straight, you're Christian, you're hetero. You got no seat at this table anymore in America. White boy, sit your ass down. But that ain't how I roll. And thankfully, I got plenty of friends that back me on that. Of all races, all nationalities, gay, straight, lesbian, bi, trans. You sit at home right now. I don't know where you're at, but it's raining where I'm at. How could you not weep for the state of this country and the possibilities that existed and have existed the entire time? And that the same possibility that exists in the United States exists all the way across the world. I could leave out on Highway 22 and go east as far as I could go. I could hit the Atlantic Ocean. I could keep right on going around this globe and come all the way back. Right across the Pacific, right across the West Coast, right back through Oklahoma and Western Arkansas, down Highway 22, and back to this seat. And the same law would apply. The natural law of a man to live his life in peace, absent interference from the state. Having the ability to seek out and do what he wants to do, what his heart's desire is, to change that as frequently as he so chooses, to raise his kids safely in his morals and his principles, to guide them and show them how to treat men and women, how to treat children, how to love their neighbor, how to support their community, because they want to, not because they're forced to at the end of a gun. The very hypocrisy of what the left, and I'll come to the right here in a moment, and why we should all be pissed going into 2021 about both. But the utter hypocrisy that you will want your morals and your values enforced by the very people you complain about. Democrats, I'm talking to you. You fire off shot after shot after shot at police officers. And I really feel for police officers. I do. Because most of them are people, they're men like me. The majority of them, they're men like me. They came from a rough background. They kind of learn some hard life lessons and they go, you know what? I can make a difference. I can give back. Some of them saw their mothers abused by violent men and said, you know what? I'm going to go out there and I want to protect women like my mother. So I'm going to go and be a police officer so I can help protect women like my mother that I saw abused as a child. And you rip that man down. You have no idea who he is, what he's experienced, what he's seen, and you rip him down, not knowing or understanding or searching his soul and his heart and why he's serving in his community, why he puts that badge on, why he feels the need to put on a gun and take his life out on there and enforce unconstitutional laws. He makes a sacrifice, as do a lot of service members. They make these sacrifices because a lot of them do have something that they deeply believe in. They believe in that.
and you rip that from them by tearing them down each and every time and assaulting all of their characters. We have to judge every single individual by every single individual. We don't always know or understand or comprehend why they work or do what they do or where they are. We don't know and we don't understand. And we don't want to understand because that takes fucking work. That takes time. That takes energy. That takes conversations. And they don't want us to have them. All of the conversations that are being held are within our ruling class, the people that are looking down their noses at you. They don't give a shit about you. They don't fucking care about you. What do you not understand about this? This isn't me against the wealthy or those who were born into a more privileged. If you want to use the word privilege, fine. It's probably appropriate here to say it. You are more privileged when you're born into a community where there's a lot of good money and there's low crime and there's good schools. You are. There is a privilege to that. I come from a more rural community, poorer communities, poorer homes. They don't have the kind of money around here that they've got in the suburbs of Chicago. Are you kidding me? But they're pitting the working class against the working class. This is exactly what they did during the Civil War. This is exactly how they pitted poor whites against poor blacks in this nation. The very divisive tactics that they used at those times to justify for a few elite ruling class to turn the poor working whites against the slaves, the indentured servants. And they turned men's heart against other men's hearts because they believed if they did so, it would be in their family's best interest to go along to get along. And that's what we're still doing. We're going along to get along. We want to cozy up to the bully. We want to cozy up to the one that's abusing us. We want them to like us. We want them to not take our rights. We want them to not put us in cages. We want them to not pursue us and invade into our privacy and our lives. That's what we want. And we'll sacrifice our morals and our principles to try and get the best version of that we can get. Your government is abusing you. And there are many in this nation, private and otherwise, that are contributing to that because they want that divisiveness. No different than these attorneys want divisiveness and discord in these courts. They want the exact same thing in the streets. What we observed at some of the Black Lives Matter marches in DC, they're being orchestrated and ran by attorneys. They are the puppet masters. Attorneys disguised as protesters, law school students disguised as some type of media, and they're not. They're orchestrating a careful dance to try to draw police into conflict with them, to draw peaceful citizens into conflict with them, and then cry foul. And I have no doubt that police officers have done similar things. If we're completely honest and we're consistent across the board. Why? Because some people are just fucked up and they'll do fucked up things like that. That's why. Which is why we have to judge every single individual by their own actions. And right now, we have no alternative but to judge all of Congress for passing and pushing through this legislation. We've got no choice. These are the individuals that are creating this legislation. They are the ones that are sending out these monies to these other countries. They are the ones that are organizing and creating the exact chaos that we're all living in. They've done it to Black America. They've done it to the Native American populace. They've done it to the Hispanic populace. They've done it to the white populace. And they've done it to the Asian populace. Our common enemy is not one another. It's great. I'm glad you asked. You want some solutions. This is one. This is one minor solution. Having a difficult discussion on race relations, having a difficult discussion on public police relations and government public relations. And I separated out the police because they're the ones who are tasked with using violence to enforce the state laws or federal laws. The police are the one tasked with it. Okay. They call themselves the thin blue line. Between what and what? What are they the barrier against? Police are going to have their work cut out for them here pretty quick. In DC, January 6th, there's a huge event going down. I would imagine there's going to be a metric shit ton of people. That's the day that they're certifying the electoral votes, when the Senate and Mike Pence will do the dirty deeds. And the police are going to have their work cut out for them. And there might be some that if things pop off, that stress and the anxiety and what's happening, and God knows what they have built up in their minds prior to getting there. You understand what I'm saying? Those police will be, and police have every right to be on edge in this nation. But there's a lot of communities that are on edge as well. They're on edge about what's transpiring there. If we don't come together as American citizens in this country, it will certainly be torn apart. My plea to Black America and to Native Americans, my friends and family that I consider amongst the Native American populace and the Hispanic populace, I'm not saying, when I say this, okay, I'm not telling you to go to the Republican Party. So listen to what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the Democratic Party has been just as evil to you and your families as what the Republican Party has been, and how much they've both misled their respective bases. They have done that, and they continue to do that. And out of fear, many of you remain there and you continue to vote for them because you have been conditioned, both sides, you've been conditioned that a working man or woman in another community is your enemy, and they're not. Solutions are you spend more time getting involved with what's happening in this country. I'm talking about this every single show. We're going to DC January 6th. Do you want to go? Feel free. You can carpool with us. Right? We can have a little train that goes over there. History's going to go down. Don't bring any kids. I wouldn't bring any kids. Because I would imagine, well, it might be touch and go. There's no telling. But I'm going prepared for the worst. As should you. When your stimulus check hits your bank account, your stimulus check, I hope that it stimulates you to the degree that you will at least buy protection for your home, for you and your family. I hope that you do that. If you need a source, if you're uncertain which direction to go with that, if you're not knowledgeable or uncomfortable or you're embarrassed to ask, right? Don't be. You got to start somewhere. You shoot me a message And I'll damn sure put you in contact with the right people. You need training? I'll get you in contact with the right people. And you should get training. You should get some training. At the very least, basic firearm safety, at the very least. There's a war coming in this country. I believe that war may very well be some sort of class warfare. And that's a shame. That really is. But we can no longer afford to allow government to reach over into our lives to such a substantial degree that we willingly accept it. That we just swallow it and go along to get along. You are selling your kids' futures down the river by not being brave enough to show up and say something. Whether down at your county board meeting, your city council, down at your Capitol, when they're working on legislation. When's the last time you went down to the Capitol? When's the last time you went or took your children to observe how bills are passed? Be honest about it. We never went as kids. That was a long ways away and we were poor. But if you're close, I mean, many people live near these cities and never set foot in there, ever. Why? We fear that which we don't understand. We fear politics and we fear government because we don't understand it. It's like anything else. You learn it. I've learned far more in the last 4 years about our country and our government than I did in all of my 20 years in the military. I'll tell you that right now. I learned a lot of valuable things in the military, absolutely. But I had no idea how bad it truly was. Draining the swamp, right? I don't care if it's a Trumpism, if that's something that he's kind of popularized, draining the swamp, because it's true. That's undeniable. And I will say there are corrupt people in that swamp in the Republican and Democratic parties. A lot of them. There is a metric shit ton of them. And we got some out there that are fighting that fight. But part of what we got to do is we have to network ourselves across this country and across this world and start discussing what are the similarities, what's happening in the UK and Australia to what's happening here. And people are going, I don't give a fuck. It's not my country. I didn't ask you a question, simpleton. I didn't ask you what country you're from. Nothing prohibits us from having discussion and conversation. That's how we further our knowledge. Tyranny operates much the same way. From here to Germany, to Afghanistan, to Japan, China. People that seek to control other people, they have the behaviors, the way that the government functions, how it treats its people. There is not a good working relationship between the American people and its government. I think my local government here is working pretty good. I think. Definitely room for improvement, but I think they're working pretty good. But across the damn country, CJ, if you got a moment, would you please pull up some of the data on the amount of money going and where it was going to these other countries? I think that's still important for us to discuss before we close out 2020. If you can find that. My brothers and sisters across this nation, whether or not I've ever met you, you could bet your ass I would probably lay down my life for you. I would probably stand up and defend you if I saw you were being harmed or attacked. What we got here? The Colorado coronavirus numbers are back on the rise. Plus. Yeah, I'm looking for the. I was looking for the COVID relief bill or the omnibus bill. Yeah, Karen, you're right. It's the money. The money, of course. We say this. We've always known it. To trace the money, find where the money's going, follow the money. And where does it always come back to? How can we continue to function with such a Congress? So this is some of the foreign aid. Thanks, CJ, for bringing this up. After months of tense negotiations, Congress has passed one of the most comprehensive pieces of legislation. I don't know if comprehensive is the right word. Pieces of legislation in U.S. history on December 21st, 2020. And it's shown that foreign aid continues to endure as a key policy priority among U.S. lawmakers. While the COVID-19 relief package passed by Congress encounters considerable controversy across a range of issues, the legislation makes no secret of its intention to put America at the head of more than just the global COVID-19 relief effort, but an innumerable number of programs spearheading international aid and human rights. They make this sound so fucking cozy, don't they? The nearly 5,600-page stimulus package, H.R. 133, Consolidated Appropriations Act 2021, goes into detail about the new initiatives, domestic and foreign, that will be subject to federal funding. What follows is a list of almost all new initiatives, new ones that this bill will implement. $700 million for Sudanese economic development, $85.5 million to Cambodia to promote democracy, education, and constitutionalism, as well as counter growing Chinese influence. Now, I want to pause that for a moment. We haven't paused, and we've been unable to pause the Chinese influence in this country. What in the fuck makes us think that we can control it in Cambodia? $85 million to help combat Chinese influence in Cambodia? Chinese are not dangerous. What is dangerous is the communist ideology, a far left, very far left, dangerous ideology, as dangerous as any far right ideology. Only communism is far more pervasive. You don't have a Mussolini or a Hitler running across the globe right now, killing metric shit tons of people, ethnic cleansing. You don't have that right now, to my knowledge. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If there's some far right organization out there or ideology that is killing millions of people across this world, show me. Tell me about it. Communism in North Korea, communism in China, communism, millions of people, untold. And fascism did that in World War II. Right? That's what we fought. That's what the greatest generation fought. We fought fascism, which is why it's fucking. We're white men in this country. You associate us with being fascist when we disagree with some liberal viewpoint. And the moment I disagree with a Republican viewpoint, instantaneously, I'm now a smoking, flaming liberal. The dehumanization begins instantaneously. All it takes is one strike, just one disagreement. You disagree on one item, which more often than not is some social issue. You disagree one time and you're cast aside like a piece of trash. I'm not trash, and I won't be treated like trash from anyone. We're not following our own constitution. Our education is shit. Have you looked at Common Core? Common Core is a methodology of programming, teaching our children to take the longest fucking way to get to the same destination, right? They want you to burn a tank of gas to get to your local grocery store. That's what they're teaching our kids. When you draw out how long it takes to get to the end result, to the end product, yeah, you might have taught a child to think about looking at things from some different angles and institutionalized into our future generations is to look at something and view it as being far more complex than what it is, because time is money. And the more time it takes on a project, the longer it's going to take to get that project completed. And of course, the more money that's going to be spent on that project as you drive up labor cost and time on the job. It will slow production. It will slow innovation. Common Core is a disgusting fucking educational system. I don't know who came up with that. But of course, it's going into somebody's pocket, right? Somebody's making money on it. And the federal government is contributing to all of those issues. Education needs to be brought back down to the local communities and letting them decide. We're going to give $8 million to sustainable development and education in Tibet, $125 million to economic development in Egypt, with special emphasis on education, minimum of $40 million in student scholarships, minimum of $15 million, $33 million to pro-democracy programs in Venezuela, $50 million towards U.S. schools in the Middle East and Asia, $18.5 million for U.S. aid, and $30 million for the American Schools and Hospitals Abroad program. $100 million to the Prevention and Stabilization Fund is authorized by the Global Fragility Act of 2019. $1.65 billion for Jordan, about half of which can be spent indiscriminately. And then $325 million for economic development in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, with special emphasis on the eradication of Ebola. I'm not opposed to eradicating Ebola. But what they do is they hide hidden agendas and padding pockets through humanitarian efforts. See the fucking Clintons and the Clinton Foundation in Haiti as a primary example. I think CJ's getting at something for me. Do you want me to go back to what you have? Oh, the new women's rights program. Promotion of women's rights and political involvement in Afghanistan as a matter of national security. $130 million exclusively for empowering women's equality and equity abroad. An additional $15 million for preventing at-risk women and girls from succumbing to violence and extremist ideologies. Now, all of that sounds amazing. It sure does. And it sounded amazing for the Violence Against Women's Act in the United States as well. That sounded amazing. All of these domestic violence programs sounded amazing. Americans jumped on board. They clamored for it. Yeah, we need all of this funding. Yeah. To go after those violent men. Yeah. You got duped. You got duped with false and misleading information that led you to believe that men are the predominant and overwhelming, indisputable aggressors of domestic violence. And it was bullshit. Yeah, it was bullshit, and you bought it hook, line, and sinker. And you're getting madder by the second just for me saying it. And you were sold this idea that the nation was going to step up in a big way and protect you, ladies, with this legislation, all of these programs. How many women are still murdered every day? How many women are still beaten every day? How many women are still raped every single day? And with all of that money poured into all of these programs, you haven't curbed the problem, have you? No. You know why? Because you're not getting to the root of the matter. As a matter of fact, what they've done is they have contributed these monies as a way and as a methodology to build up in your mind that all men are evil and that we are bad and that we want to hurt you. They have developed and instilled a fear in you that government is the best protector and the best provider. And in all honesty, the actual best protector and provider is yourself. I see, CJ, you're pointing at that. I'm assuming the middle paragraph because the top part's covered up by some logos. I can't read the top paragraph. That was the middle one. Okay. Although the funding for these initiatives appear to be a large sum, the funding for international aid accounts for less than $8 billion of the $900 billion of federal funding set aside for the stimulus package, meaning foreign aid and development makes up less than 0.01% of U.S. federal funding. Moreover, this funding amounts to less than half of the funding necessary to fund Western relief programs across the globe fully. Despite President Donald Trump originally vetoing the bill, he signed the bill on December 27, 2020, and it is now set to become public law. All of these monies, you're being misled about how it's going to be used. The same way all of us were misled in this country as to how the monies would be appropriated and utilized in this nation to curb social problems that we're facing. I don't deny domestic violence exists. I don't deny that it's pervasive and that we need more emphasis on curbing that domestic violence. I don't deny that at all. What I do deny is that men are the predominant aggressors. I deny that this false narrative has benefited our nation in any way, as we have driven hate and discord between men and women, as we have portrayed men as these overt monsters and women as hapless victims. And you've got millions of men across this nation that are suffering. And it does not make you anti-woman to acknowledge a man's tears, to say, that guy's hurting over there. We need to do something for him. We need to help him. We need to come to his aid. No differently than if it was a black person. Okay? To say that, hey, we need to help this person, it doesn't make you anti-white to acknowledge that this person needs help. Or a gay person, or Hispanic. It doesn't matter. We're being traumatized. All of us. But our common source of angst again, it's not somebody with a different political party than you. It is, in fact, the state's overreach into your lives. And if you've supported a lot of these Democratic candidates and Republican candidates, I voted for them before. We can all take ownership of our individual contributions to the tyranny that we're living under. I was a part of it. Ignorant, naive, and I put too much trust into my government because I put on a uniform and thought that I was one of the good guys doing the good things, and I wasn't out, you know. Some people have called me baby killers and stuff before. You know, I don't have no combat action ribbon. I haven't been in direct firefights. Hell, I didn't even deploy into the desert. I have deployed into, let's just say I've deployed into some areas, but I was never in any sort of like direct combat, like as a, you see like a Marine or a soldier. I wasn't like CJ. I didn't get blown up in an IED. A grassroots movement of us has got to sweep across this country. We've got to bring this messaging and the camaraderie and the relationship that we can formulate between one another. We're just human beings. Just sit down and talk about human being issues. What it's like to be a dad, what it's like to be a mom, how much, how difficult it is to get a job in different communities, and what is preventing us from going into communities and helping to build them out, to get more people to work, to become less dependent upon a corporation and more dependent upon your viewership and in different pathways to succeed in life outside of what you were conditioned to believe was the only or the best way to go about it. And going to college ain't it. It's not for everybody. And as we can see, our higher education system, it has been infiltrated by a Marxist all this far left appeal to those at the right. So whether you're talking about the economic ladder, some sort of that feel that they're the most disenfranchised, somebody who feels as though large cause for their issues, they're far more likely to be accepting of communism and Marxism because, it's better than that shit over there. It sounds better than the life of bullshit that I've been getting. That's how they get them. They take people that probably have a legitimate gripe and have some legitimate suffering, and they latch on to them and mislead them into believing that they're their best friend. And they lead them down this primrose path of how, we'll all be provided for, we'll all have, and we'll never want, right? We'll end all of the different economic classes and social classes, but the way that they have to go about doing that, well, you've seen what happens. Millions of people die to try and implement it. Its own tenets violate the very end goal that it's seeking to obtain. Right? But they justify getting to that end utopian state using the means of oppression and fear that they label from the right, that they cast out at the right of the dirty fascist. And they're just as bad on the far left. So we have to come together, those of us in the middle, and go, no, this isn't going to happen. Now, I got to say, so I've said it before, I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I voted for Joe Jorgensen. And I'm not apologetic about that. Donald Trump had Arkansas locked up solid. This state was redder than this agulette on my shoulder. My vote, I wasn't going to, he didn't need one more arrow in that dead horse. Arkansas was going to be sewed up tight. So I got the best of both worlds. Because I think Joe Biden, with his nearly 50 years in office, and Kamala Harris's, with their combined years in office, than Trump or Pence could ever think about doing. We would go right back to the debates, and every single person that was on going to be on a ballot would be in the debate. If a person is on the ballot to have their message and their platform heard by the American people, the American people have that right to hear what somebody else could bring to the table, and we are being denied that by both parties. There could be some wonderful ideas and people out there that could lead this nation into a better future, a brighter future. But I admit that exposing the corruption, I don't think any of us realized how pervasive it was. We knew it's pervasive, right? Chicago doesn't have the nickname the Windy City because of the wind off of Lake Michigan. It's quite windy there, don't get me wrong. It's because how flighty their politicians are. I don't know how many of their governors they put in prison. Matter of fact, I might try and get an endorsement from one of them. It would be for comedy, of course. There's only a couple hours left in this year, in 2020. I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist, and I understand that 2021 is only going to be 2020 with a topping on it. I think he's trying to get me to go to break. I guess we can take 5. Or we can wrap it up early. What do you want to do? I'll let you guys decide.
Well, it's hard to see with all these flashing cameras in my face.
It's windy.
But I love the way they play.
I just assume stay home with a beautiful lady. Sit by the fire.
Think about this place. I can't help but miss those days. And I'll write on every page.
We would like some more artists. Yeah, I'll stick around then. You guys take a break. If you want to take 5, go grab something. Go grab a smoke. Grab a glass of chocolate milk like I do. Oh, private chat's blown up and I didn't even see it. Who's Fuji TV? CJ.
Well,
I see back in the background FCI Fuji TV.
Google, they have a YouTube channel. They are live right now. So
playing my PS4 and making YouTube videos. Who is this?
They have a YouTube channel, so I asked for their YouTube channel in the chat so I can check them out.
Yeah, who is that?
I don't know.
That's the beautiful thing. Is that a person?
We're going to meet a lot of new people live. Hopefully he's cool. I mean, if he's gaming and broadcasting live on YouTube, is he the worst person on the planet at the moment?
Hey, what?
All right. Well, we'll check out with Fuji.
You get none of that, bro, over that music.
Oh, you got none over the music? Okay, well, that's Nick Sky. If you want to see more artists, you are an artist, we definitely would love to have you on the network. But yeah,
okay,
Fuji, Fuji, get with me backstage and let me get that info to your channel. And I guess not. Maybe not. Maybe Fuji just wanted to hear Fuji. You want to take a break, Cash?
No.
It's New Year's.
Scare them away.
Nah, maybe Fuji just wanted to hear Fuji TV. Like, I guess. I'll give you the link, they said, and then maybe they're going to get the link. Who knows?
They frightened? Take off?
I don't know.
What
I don't know who Fuji TV is. Do you?
Where'd they go?
I don't know.
Where'd you go, PS4 guy?
Hello, Fuji. Fuji.
I don't know
Fuji.
what's going on here.
I don't know either, man. It's
Got the
live.
lag. CJ's head's kind of up. They got a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Okay.
Should we look them up? I think we should look them up. Hold up. We'll look up Fuji TV here and see if they're like broadcasting live. Let's do this.
Oh, okay.
Fuji
Oh, I see.
TV.
All right.
Are they live?
Yeah, check them out.
I mean, when I Google,
We can do that after the break. We'll go over their channel. We'll go over
Yeah,
their channel. I don't mind promoting some other people.
but this is the only Fuji TV that's live right now. It's Japan News, like. And now your internet just went weird on me. Or is it me?
I've got my own kind of agenda and
I don't even know what's going on.
I don't know. I thought you were gonna add some person to the show.
I was, and Fuji left. Fuji is gone.
What
Fuji
happened?
doesn't exist anymore. And the only Fuji TV that I can find is a Japanese news lady. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is not
All right.
Fuji TV. I mean, are we being discussed right now on Fuji TV? I don't know.
何が必要なのか
I don't know.
株主のことだけじゃない。
I don't know.
Well, it
Kat.
could be.
They said
let's
Fuji
see.
TV. That's the only thing when you type in YouTube Fuji
Let's go
TV.
to. You can go to. Well, let's see what Fuji TV's saying. I'd like to know what they're saying.
I don't know. It was Fuji TV. Do you speak?
They Fuji gone.
Yeah, they Fuji gone. If you can understand
Of course
it,
I
Kat,
今回の桜田代表幹事は終身雇用など日本の人事制度について制
I
度
speak
疲労
American and kick ass.
経済発展のためにはダイバーシティ多様性を重視すべきだと強調しました。また日商の三村会頭は経済成長のためには生産性の向上が必須だなどとコメントしています。菅総理大臣は東京都の
I
新
mean,
型コロナ
he's
ウイルスの
definitely
感
not
染
Yeah,
playing.
all I heard was Cash Jackson's a handsome. No, I mean, all I heard him say was that Cash Jackson's a handsome, smart son of a bitch, and we would love to
All
have
right,
him be a
Cash.
part of our nation. So maybe
Has
one
to
day
ask-
I'll get a key to the kingdom. I don't know.
Resolution. See, I have to talk like a 30 seconds in the past, apparently.
Not to die in 2021 at the hands of my government.
Dude, those are terrible resolutions to have because everybody fails at their resolutions, and that's basically setting yourself up to die at the hands of the government. Like, you're basically willing it into fruition because you're
Well.
making it like the worst thing you can, a resolution. Fuji gone.
Well,
Oh,
hey, you know what?
yeah.
Hey, if that happens, CJ, good luck in 2022, bro. That's all I can tell you. I mean,
I-
what do you want me to say?
Ugh.
If I go out like a champ, well, it's not like I
Man.
want to. I don't want to be no martyr.
Nobody wants to be a
I don't
martyr.
want to die.
Jack.
I don't like pain. It doesn't feel good. I don't like that shit.
Listen, like I said to you before privately, I told you that they advertise your death and make the ad
Would you do
revenue
me a
off
favor,
of it.
though?
Like,
Would
how
you?
can you? Yeah.
Would you do me a favor?
Hmm.
Well, here, I'll do it.
Yeah. What do you want?
Why don't you, let me go grab some. I'm going to grab something. No, I'll get it.
I'll vamp.
I'm going to go
Yeah.
grab it and then screen share it.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. I'll play some Nick
I
Scott.
don't want you to vent for me. How about you just do that?
Play
Do that
Nick
executive
Scott.
producer thing.
And play some Nick
Do that
Sky. Absolutely.
second.
Remember times when everything seemed so easy. How we didn't know how close we were to losing it all. And we were content with what we had, even though these memories would be quick to fall. Before we were supposed to keep us safe, would suffocate us slowly. Once we were happy before we grew. We were happy with nothing in our hands. We were simple, and there was nothing we could understand. A sense lost inside like falling grains of sand, leaving us to wonder where did it all go wrong. Have done better? Is that something that we did wrong? For us to feel left to raise ourselves without someone to lean on. Since the past of generations, present or past, was there any peace? And if there was, could it last? Before we were supposed to keep us safe, would suffocate us slowly. Once we were happy before we grew. We were happy with nothing in our hands. So it was simple, there was nothing we could understand. A sense lost inside like falling grains of sand, leaving us to wonder where did it all go wrong. Life was simple enough before the monsters changed the chaos recipe. Before we got inside our heads and changed our chemistry. Before we knew about the danger lurking beneath the surface. Before we learned our lives and purpose. Before we had to accept this was all going to be worth this.
Now watch this drive.
We were happy before we grew. We were happy with nothing in our hands. So it was simple, there was nothing we could understand. A sense lost inside like falling grains of sand, leaving us to wonder where did it all go wrong.
I can play the intro, right?
Well, it's hard to see with all these flashing cameras in my face, but I love the way they play, throwing shadows on the stage. And I wonder where you are and what you think about this place. I can't help but miss those days, and I write on every page. My hero, she's the last real dreamer I know, and I could tell you all about her. I don't think I'll fall asleep till I roll over. Can we just start over again? And I could tell you all about her. I don't think I'll fall asleep till then.
We're getting ready to ask CJ if he would go over and grab video for me off of my public Facebook page, and I wanted to play it on the broadcast. It's a memory from 2016 for me, and I was with my daughter and Marina, and many of you know I haven't seen my daughter in almost 3 years, right? So it'll be 3 years this coming March since I've seen my daughter. And it's one reason I'm so incredibly passionate about what it is that I discuss, because of how painful it is for us to live this. And this is all part of a bigger picture. It's outside of just family law. And I am hoping some of you are beginning to connect the dots with we're not talking about, like, before judges and some bad domestic policy. This is far more deadly than what we realize. And show you, this is a relationship with my daughter. And this is what they took from us, right? This is what they took from me and my daughter, because I'm outspoken. You can play it, CJ, if it'll play. Well, good evening from our home to yours. It's New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
Am I mistaken? It's New Year's Eve. So we want to take just a couple minutes and recap some highs for us in 2016. Not going to focus on any lows, nothing depressing, only positive things about 2016 and what we want to accomplish in 2017. So I got, who's this?
Kaylee.
Kaylee and
Marina.
So Caden's over on the couch.
He doesn't want to do live feed.
And anyway, so we just wanted to tell you guys, hi, we love you. And it's been a great year. We've had our challenges like any other family, but we're looking forward to going into 2017 with a bang, doing some great things. And some highs that I had this year. Y'all want me to go first? Y'all want me to go first?
I want to go first.
All right, Kaylee, you go first.
So we're doing a flashback on 2016. Hopefully I have everything for the summer, because summer was pretty fun for us. Well, first in our old house, when we were at Dad's old house, we had a water gun fight. It was pretty much fun.
That was an epic water gun fight.
Yeah, that was
live. That was good.
We did do that live, didn't we?
Yeah, you guys remember the thing when we did water guns? And yeah, that was pretty much fun, but very cold.
Yeah, we did have some cold water, didn't we?
Yeah.
What else?
Well, I remember the time when I was a little bit younger, I got stung by a bee. I made the bees aggravated at the nest because I was trying to grow back the bush, and one of the bees come out and stung my finger.
Was that this year?
I don't know. 2015? I think it was 2015.
Well, this is a 2016 review, not 2015.
How about the time this guy brings the hornet's nest into the bedroom to wake me up,
and
mice out of it.
Mice.
Oh man!
And Kiefer killed the mouse. I did bring
a squirrel,
a hornet's nest into the bedroom.
Someone had to clean up the mice,
and someone killed a squirrel.
I don't think he killed a squirrel, did he?
I think he did.
No, he killed a big water rat.
He went after a muskrat.
Oh, guys, remember the time when
muskrat and a groundhog.
Yeah, he went after a groundhog.
Guys, remember the time when he rolled in his own poop?
He's done.
Possum poop. He rolled possum.
Kiefer did and painted himself purple. So bad.
They let these two do the job.
What's your New Year's resolutions for 2017, sis?
What?
For 2017, what New Year's resolutions do you have?
All right, our goals now. Since now for our dinner stuff, we're going to wash our own plates now for the.
No, what's your goals for 2017?
Oh, my goal. It's more exercising.
That's good.
That's going.
I already weigh 28 pounds from 68 from 28.
I think she's a little off on her weights there. We might have to pull out the weight scale.
28 kilograms, probably.
28 kilograms, I think.
Oh.
I
What
want to get
else?
stronger.
Remember, we did Tickle Monster. Remember, we did a few. Well, before we started 2016, 2017, Caden, both of us were having a fight, kind of like wrestling, but Dad did some painful stuff back there.
They got snake bit.
Dirty bites.
Marina, what's your highlights of 2016?
I keep it.
Excuse you. Come here.
Oh gosh. I think fishing.
Yeah, it was cutting out too much for me, but man, and we miss it. And the cries of people like myself and CJ and those of us who always come back to the same issue over and over again do so because unfortunately the American people haven't heard our cries, and as a result, here's the downside to that. Having not heard each intended to be a sounding call for go and help their fellow human being, you're not hearing that, and you're missing that from people around you. And the end result is that not only do those people continue to suffer, but the pathway still exists for more people to also get caught up in that and to in your family. And where nature designed us to cry out in pain and in anguish when we hurt, when we do that, what's happening is that we're being dismissed. Our humanity is being dismissed. And that is what has allowed for the continued encroachment of the state into your personal lives. The callousness with which we're dealt with, locking up our elderly in nursing homes, and they waste away. And these families placed it in greater risk because they were locked in quarantine. And as we've said all along and told you, you're not going to run from it. It doesn't matter how tight you come in contact with it. Eventually, you touch a gas pump, or you touch a pen pad, or a door handle, something where you don't know, but it exists and it's there and you can't run from it. And the fact of the matter is that some of us are going to die and some of us aren't. Some of us are going to adapt to it and some of us aren't. That's the sad fucking reality. And I'm sorry that that is what it is. I had a good relationship with my kids. Still love them. And if they'll take that from me, they took my kids from me long before COVID. I was fighting to be a dad long before, like me, who had a relationship like that with my child. And they can tell me it's not in the best interest of that little girl to see her daddy for 3 years. Think about the pain and the anguish. A lot of these people that are in this group, a lot of you that follow here and you comment, you're suffering the same thing. And that's why I do invite in to try and win them over to our side, because the goal is not to get a fucking trophy because somebody was so grossly misinformed. What we're actually doing is we're seeking to please our own emotional response, and I love doing it. Comments like I get on my TikTok videos and shit, people saying that, you know, you're a deadbeat, just support your kids. I want nothing more than to just eviscerate them. But I can't. I let a zinger go, and I let them have it. I'm not perfect. But we got to win. Once we break down the emotional hyper-partisanship that's driven this wedge in our country, and we go, you know what? My brother's keeper. But you got to earn that title. You got to step your ass up to same in return. That's about it for the show. I know it's a more serious note, and I'm kind of in a more serious mood. It's December 31st, and I'm concerned going into 2021 about what's going to happen. I'm concerned for you and your families. I'm concerned for, yeah, of course, you know, my audio keeps cutting out. It's going to be bad for me and my families, you know.
That's why I'm on here right now. I'm about to tell you.
Apparently my
I could
audio
still
is not coming.
I can still understand what you're saying to a certain degree, but it's about that time, Cash. Yeah, your internet's getting pretty bad. This is why we need better
About
internet.
that time, okay.
And we need a better
Fair
studio.
enough. Man, we got to deal with the technical.
Happens,
yep, that's why we need better internet.
We will rock and roll. We will have the finer of the broadcasting world, and we will provide you with a better quality, product, so to speak, in the stream quality. So again, Cash, pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity in 2020 to be your executive producer. I hope 2021 is the year that we take off with the War is Hell podcast, the Veteran Liberty Network. I am the one advertising for you tonight. Please go to patreon.com/Cash Jackson. Please join the Patreon. You'll get exclusive access into our Telegram chat where you get to talk to Cash. You'll get his phone number. You'll be able to reach out to him personally, and you'll be able to join the show and be a part of it. Happy New Year's to everybody. If you're missing your children tonight, like we are, we love our children. Whether it's 2020 or 2021, it doesn't matter the date on the calendar. We will continue to fight for our children. The fight will still be the same tomorrow as it is today. So celebrate the good for today. Celebrate the ones we lost this year. And I'll see you all next year. And it's been a pleasure.
You have every right to be concerned, and I want you to be concerned, but I don't want you to be paralyzed by fear. I want you to be emboldened. I want you to find a deeper understanding to and how it's equipped you to reach and change others' hearts. You've been equipped. I can't do the stuff that CJ does. He's a tremendous asset to this movement and what we're seeking to accomplish here. And I applaud any person that can work through their personal pain and continue to stay in the fight. It's some of the most admirable people that I've ever encountered. Try not seeing your daughter for 6 years and staying in a fight every fucking day and fighting tooth and nail to change it. The best way that you know how, with the resources and the talents and skills that you have available to you as a working class man and woman. That is an admirable fucking trait. Continue to give back to this country. I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this show. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for me. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate everything that you do, the prayers that you send out, the letters, the emails, all that you guys do. I will never be able to say thank you enough for what you've brought to my life and my family's life. So with my most sincere thank you, I'm looking forward to spending time with all of you in 2021. I'm looking forward to changing this country better. And I'm looking forward to building relationships that really just want a better country in the years to come. God bless. Love you guys. Be safe. Hug your little ones. And we'll talk to you next year. It's Wars Hill Podcast. We're out of here.